from Italy. Hello everyone and welcome to the 7th race weekend of the DTM season 2018. And we are psyched because we are in Misano. And for the first time in the history of the DTM, we will be racing by night. The weather is not too exciting. It just poured down with rain about half an hour ago. Now let's see, the rain is picking up again. But first, before we get racing, of course, now it's time for the qualifying. So let's get started.
Well, you're absolutely right. As the lightning strikes behind, the weather conditions here in Misano are not what we expected from the Adriatic coast, it has to be said, as we arrive here at Misano. So it is the very first time under lights for DTM. And Uli Fritz then for Mercedes-Benz, as you can see on the pit wall. In free practice, it all went the way of Mercedes-Benz with Paffett, Wehrlein, De Resta and Juncadella occupying the first four places in FP2. As we look at Mike Rockenfeller now in car number 99, the Audi Sport Team Phoenix driver. We cannot read too much into what has happened during free practice as to what's going to happen in qualifying, and the weather has really thrown a curved ball as well. Just one podium in DTM this season for Mike Rockenfeller. What can he do today? Alongside is the car of Loic Duval, car number 28, whose best result in the DTM has been a P5. This season, what can he do in these really challenging weather conditions? This qualifying session is going to be wet, that's for sure. Ernst Moser is the team chief, as you can see, and his drivers are Loic Duval and Mike Rockenfeller, as we have just seen. And what a special car is this. Absolutely fantastic to see. Car number 12. Alex Zanardi, welcome to the DTM.
Klaus, if you are allowed
313 races, 38 wins, 66 podiums, and well, it's an absolute joy to have Alex Zanardi, one of the most humble men that I've met, out on track, and big thanks to DTM and also to BMW for making that possible. Alex Zanardi, a guest driver here at Misano, and spectators eager and in anticipation of this qualifying session to get underway here at Misano. Yes, you're on the telly. Welcome. Here's Nico Müller then, the Audi driver, car number 51. So Nico Müller, who's had just one podium this season so far. It came in Budapest, driving the Audi R5 DTM car, and there is Bruno Spengler and Joel Eriksson. To the left, it's the Bruno Spengler car. To the right-hand side, it is Joel Eriksson, the BMW team RBM, run by Bert Mampe. And there, the cars with their lights on, ready to come out in the dark and already lined up in the pit lane, awaiting the green light. As we're about to get this qualifying session, short, sharp qualifying session, just 20 minutes underway. So we are about a minute and 40 seconds away from the green light as the lightning continues to strike around the circuit, and the heavens once again have opened. And here's confirmation of what happened during free practice too. Gary Paffett was the leader of that. Same time exactly was set by Pascal Wehrlein, but because Gary Paffett set the 1:46.071 first, that means he goes to the top of the chart. So both himself and Gary and Pascal Wehrlein setting identical time, 1:46.071, and then the rest of the order in graphics for you. But it was a real Mercedes lockout with Paffett, Wehrlein, De Resta and Juncadella ahead of Marco Wittmann, who was the best of the BMWs, and the best of the Audis was Robin Freins with P8 in that free practice session. So we look at the number 11 car of Marco Wittmann then. And alongside is the Augusto Farfus car. BMW Team RMG. Stefan Reinhold then is the team chief, and his drivers, as you can see, Marco Wittmann and Augusto Farfus, who I was having a conversation with on almost on the beach this morning with his family. And Augusto Farfus, who had a good time of it in race 1 at Brands Hatch, taking a podium, and his first podium of the season, taking a P2. Sadly, in race 2 at Brands Hatch, he didn't finish the race. So Augusto Farfus then came away from Brands Hatch with mixed emotions. And there you can see the dark cloud that hangs over the Misano circuit at the moment. And following the rounds here at Misano, the 2 races here at Misano, we go off to the Nürburgring, Red Bull Ring, and then, of course, the finale at Hockenheim. So the cars on their way out now to this Misano circuit, a really, really challenging circuit here for the drivers to contemplate. 4.2 kilometers, 16 turns, 6 of them left-handers, 10 of them are right-handers. The circuit that was, of course, built in the 1970s. And here comes René Rast, the current DTM champion, and we're on board with Timo Glock now. So for the first time, night races in DTM. And here in Misano, here's Jamie Green then, the British driver. Car number 17, and here comes Marco Wittmann on his way down the pit lane now. This is the Pascal Wehrlein car. So wheels being torqued up. And then this short, sharp qualifying session, of which the first minute has already elapsed, is underway. So expect it to run very, very quickly indeed. So there then the number 12 car of our guest driver, Alex Zanardi. Of course, gold medalist in the London Paralympics and gold and silver medals in the 2015 Paralympics in Rio de Janeiro, and the specially adapted car that Alex Zanardi is racing this weekend. Absolutely super inspirational guy, and splitter cam on the car as well to give us a fantastic vantage of his views around this circuit. Four-time Paralympic handbike gold medalist Alex Zanardi driving car number 12, guest driver here in Misano in DTM, and a big welcome from all the other drivers and from all the fans here in Misano as well. Thrilled that he's out on track. The specially adapted BMW made available for him. There you can see controlling everything with his hands. And there is the car around this challenging Misano circuit, which of course he knows extremely well. So the cars settle down and we begin to get some meaningful lap times. We will bring them to you, but of course this is going to set the grid for race number 1. It's come a little later this evening. So the cars that we were expecting the times from straight away, Mike Rockenfeller, Philippe Eng, Loic Duval, they're kind of the first on track. Whether they'll be the fastest or not remains to be seen. So we had a yellow flag in turns 4, 5 and 6 as someone ran wide initially, but we go green now across all parts of the track, and we're on board with Mike Rockenfeller, who will give us the first meaningful time then. The graphics to the left-hand side of your screen to the bottom with the 3 coloured boxes basically indicate the sectors: Sector 1, Sector 2 and Sector 3. If it's purple, it means it's better than any one sector. If it's green, as Philippe Eng gets very sideways, and that was why we saw the yellow flag, Philippe Eng running out into the gravel. So as I said, if it's purple, it's better than anyone. Green is a personal best. And those are the 2 colours that we're looking for across those graphic indicators when we run a clock on the car. Thomas Baltez there is one of Hankook's most senior tyre engineers, and of course he probably came into this Misano weekend thinking that the Hankook wet weather tyres were not going to be needed. However, they are, as Mike Rockenfeller heads towards the timing beam now, and he'll give us the first meaningful time, but expect the times to come tumbling down during the course of the session, potentially a 1:52.255. So 1:52.255 is set by Mike Rockenfeller. The first time that goes on the chart then is for the Audi driver, car number 99, Mike Rockenfeller then. And we continue to run the clock on Mike Rockenfeller. Philippe Eng crosses the line in a 2:01.533, but of course Philippe Eng ran very wide, as did Mike Rockenfeller just then. Joel Eriksson, Bruno Spengler, but now René Rast goes fastest with a 1:50.579, a 1.50.579 for René Rast. Then it's Timo Glock. Then Gary Paffett, who was very quick during free practice. Here's Edo Mortara. Better than anyone through Sector 1 for Edo Mortara. Green in Sector 2, which is PB, but he runs very wide. Track limits have been something of an issue during the free practice sessions, so it's something that the race stewards are ruling with a rod of iron as well. So Rast is quickest with a 150.579, but this is Edo Mortara. Loic Duval has just gone purple in Sector 1, as you can see from the graphics at the bottom of your screen. So Rast, Glock, Farfus, Muller, Green, Paffett, De Resta. Then it's Freins, Rockenfeller and Bruno Spengler rounding out the top 10 in qualifying at the moment. So Edo Mortara then crosses the line in a 152.961, which is P11. Lucas Auer has done a PB in Sector 1 and better than anyone in Sector 2. This is Loic Duval then in car number 28. And as you can see, he was quickest of anyone through Sector 1, then sets a personal best in Sector 2. Wehrlein now goes second fastest with a 150.741 for Mercedes-Benz. So we've got Audi, Mercedes. Well, now we have two Audis because Rocky goes quickest with a 150.073. This is Lucas Auer in car number 22. Meaningful time from Lucas Auer then as he crosses the timing line and goes fastest with the first sub 150 time. It's a 149.410 for Lucas Auer, proving that you don't need purple sectors in every sector to go quickest. Loic Duval now goes third fastest. 6/10 down on the fastest lap time that has been set so far by Lucas Auer for Mercedes-Benz. But now it's Timo Glock for BMW with a 149.153. So as the track begins to come to the drivers, as Augusto Farfus now with the first sub 149 time, a 148.814 for Augusto Farfus for BMW. The guy that took a podium in the first race at Brands Hatch in the UK has gone fastest here in qualifying so far. We've got 13 minutes remaining. Paul Di Resta PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2. And Paul Di Resta was P15, but improves to P3, down to 149.210 for Paul Di Resta. So Farfus, Glock, Di Resta, Auer, and now Mortara is P4 and pushes Lucas Auer down to P5. Gary Paffett, the British driver, is P6 at the moment. So we stay with Loic Duval, who again has posted a very, very good Sector 1 time. This is Mike Rockenfeller, PBs, Sector 1, Sector 2. So Mike Rockenfeller then makes his way through turn 16 and heads up towards the timing line now. And Mike Rockenfeller goes from P8 to P2 with a 149.043. The only driver in the 48s then is Augusto Farfus. And this is Loic Duval. Just gets the car a little bit sideways from the second from last turn. This is turn 16, the final turn. And Loic Duval heads towards the timing beam. It's a 148.814, and he beats it with a 148.608. So Loic Duval is current fastest. This is René Rast, who's PB'd in Sector 1 and Sector 2. René Rast is currently down there, P16. But improves really rather significantly by going P1 with a 148.428. Gary Paffett then, the British Mercedes-Benz driver who currently leads the Drivers' Championship, is P7 with a 149.197. And Lucas Auer for Mercedes-Benz, as you can see from the graphics at the far left of your screen, he's gone purple in Sector 1. So it's Rast with a 48.428. Then it's Farfus with a 148.547, and then a 148.608 from Loic Duval. So here comes Lucas Auer, who goes now sixth fastest because Edo Mortara is the new quickest driver with a 148.143. This is Pascal Wehrlein, and now this is back to Lucas Auer, who goes fastest through Sector 1 than anybody, but Edo Mortara with a 148.143 is the fastest driver out on track with about 10.5 minutes of this qualifying session remaining. Timo Glock is in the pit lane, or was in the pit lane, on his way out of the pit lane now. Mortara, Rast, Farfus, Duval, Wehrlein and Marco Wittmann the top six, but here comes Lucas Auer. And P8 for Lucas Auer was his previous best time, and that was not an improvement. So Lucas Auer with work still to do. Loic Duval has come into the pit lane, so too has Philipp Eng. We're on board with Rene Rast, Daniel Juncadella, who at one point was quick in the free practice session, as you can see from the purple on his Sector 1 time. He has gone quicker than anyone through Sector 1, but Sector 2 was not perhaps quick enough. Augusto Farfus is third fastest with a 1:48.547. And it wasn't every sector, wasn't perfect for Augusto Farfus, so still time to come from him. This could be a good time from Robin Freins. PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2 for the Audi driver of car number 4. Robin Freins, who's currently 18th fastest, heads towards the timing line now and vaults his position from 18th, only 3 places, to 15th. Paul di Resta, third fastest. And here is the number 23 car of Daniel Juncadella, who is currently 10th in the timing chart. Edo Mortara then, whose previous 1:48.143 has been bettered by Rene Rast, who has got the car into the 47s with a 1:47.967. So stay on board with Rene Rast then, who is the fastest driver at the moment in the wet conditions in the Audi. The current DTM champion with a 1:47.967. And runs wide and over the curbs and will bail this lap. So Rene Rast will not consider this lap one worthy of pursuing now that he has run very wide. So the order is Rast, Auer, Mortara, Wehrlein, di Resta, Farfus, Paffett, Duval, Rockenfeller and Wittmann. The order on the left-hand side of the screen. Paffett moves up 3 places from P7 to P4, then he's pushed down to P5. And here is Pascal Wehrlein then, P6 at the moment for Pascal Wehrlein. 2 personal bests for Pascal Wehrlein in the number 94 car. So the only driver in the 47s is Rene Rast, 1:47.967 for the current DTM champion. Time is running out, 7.5 minutes remain. Pascal Wehrlein ahead of him has got the number 23 car of Daniel Juncadella. Wehrlein, 4th fastest. Rast, Auer, Farfus, Wehrlein, Mortara, P5. Here comes Lucas Auer now. Sector 1 was a good one. Sector 2, not quite so good. Lucas Auer with a 1:48.035 if he can absolutely nail the final sector. Mike Rockenfeller has done PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2 in the number 99 car. He's currently 10th fastest and is heading up the start-finish straight now. And post time of 1:48.462. Lucas Auer now goes quickest with a 1:47.806. On board with Gary Paffett, who's done PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2. He's currently 6th fastest. And Gary Paffett in the Mercedes-Benz car then, with one more turn to do before the timing beam approaches for Gary Paffett, the British driver, in the rain here in the Misano circuit. Heads towards the timing beam now, and for Paffett it is an improvement, but it's a P2 from Rene Rast to P1, a 1:47.510, 1:47.621. So just a 10th between Rene Rast and Gary Paffett for P1 and P2. So at the moment it's Audi, Mercedes, Audi, BMW, Mercedes, 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 BMW, Audi, Audi, the top 10. So Rene Rast then getting the car so sideways following running off the track, and we're into the final 5 3/4 minutes of this DTM qualifying session to set the grid for race number 1, which comes up in around about a couple of hours. We're on board with Alex Zanardi, our guest driver here in the DTM for this weekend here at the Marco Simoncelli circuit at Misano. Alex Zanardi then in car number 12, a 1:51.645. The best time that Alex Zanardi, but he's done PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Absolutely determined, ambitious driver. And he heads towards the timing line now. This is Alex Zanardi then. PB, Sector 1 and Sector 2. And it's a 151.235. Philip Eng with a 150.143. Then it's Jamie Green, 149.591 as we look at the reverse order of the timing chart at the moment. Rast is still the quickest man out there. This is Paul di Resta, 147.967. Well, for a long while, René Rast was the only driver in the 47s, but we now have 4 drivers in the 47s. They are René Rast, Gary Paffett, Lucas Auer, and Paul di Resta. And it's Paul di Resta that we watch at the moment. And as you can see, through the speed trap at 215 kilometers per hour, and he is 1/1000th down. So what can Paul di Resta do from here? It all of a sudden becomes very busy out there for Paul di Resta. The rain continues to team down. The car ahead of him is Robin Freins, who is currently 16th fastest. And Paul di Resta just runs wide and launches the car across the curbs. That may well have cost him valuable 100ths. He's right on the back of Robin Freins and heads towards the timing line now. So Paul di Resta does go fastest with a 147.362. So despite the run over the curbs, the almost launch of the car up into the air, he still sets 147.362. And there you can see the sparks coming off the car as Paul di Resta gave it absolutely everything. And the car is sliding sideways. He controls it perfectly. And that was the little launch that lifted the car up into the air on 147.362. On board with Mike Rockenfeller now, who's also looking pretty feisty here. He's got the slow-moving Lucas Auer car ahead of him. But Mike Rockenfeller heading for home now and seeing what he can deliver. He heads towards the final turn with the packed spectator grandstands to the left-hand side. Mike Rockenfeller then, the Audi driver who's currently down there P9 at the moment. This should be an improvement for Mike Rockenfeller. Indeed it is, and it's an improvement of 6 places as he puts himself up into P3. So the order with less than 3 minutes left to run is di Resta, Rast, Rockenfeller, Paffett, Auer, Glock, Farfus, Wehrlein, Mortara, and Loic Duval. So the dominance we saw from Mercedes-Benz in free practice has been nullified somewhat by the weather conditions here that have greeted us for this qualifying session for the first DTM race under the lights here at Misano. Edo Mortara we're following now, who's done PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2, bounces across the curbs, heads towards the final turn, turn number 16. What can Edo Mortara deliver here? Edo Mortara was P9 and now improves to P3. Timo Glock we're on board with now. Loic Duval Audi is the car ahead of him. Timo Glock is currently 7th fastest. He's gone green in Sector 1 and Sector 2. He has one more turn, but he's got the Loic Duval car ahead of him. So Timo Glock rounds turn number 16 and heads towards the timing beam now, tracking the Loic Duval car. Timo Glock was P8. And Timo Glock now moves up to P3, an advantage 5 places, a 147.569 for Timo Glock. So di Resta still the quickest, a 147.362. Then Rast with a 147.401. And Timo Glock with a 147.569. And di Resta now, as you can see, has gone purple in Sector 1. So looking for an improvement on his previous best, 147.362, Paul di Resta. So the British star then crosses the Sector 2 line and is green in Sector 2. So this is all looking pretty promising for Paul di Resta, who up to this point has taken some 3/10 out of his previous best time of 147.362. Paul di Resta throwing absolutely everything at it in the closing stages of this qualifying session. Edo Mortara is there is the car that we're looking at. Edo Mortara is currently 4th fastest. Driving the cars up towards the timing line. Edo Mortara increases and goes to P2. And Paul di Resta now takes 5/10 out of his previous best time, and it's a 146.854. So Paul di Resta is currently the only driver in the 46s. Here comes Pascal Wehrlein, who goes from P11 to P10. So it's a one-place improvement for Pascal Wehrlein. The session is over now. Anyone that has crossed the timing line before the checkered flag came out, their lap could and will still count. Pascal Wehrlein fighting with the car there. So, as it stands at the moment, Paul di Resta is the quickest driver with a 1:46.854. And di Resta, look, he's gone purple once again in Sector 1. This lap, I'm sure di Resta crossed the timing line before the checkered flag came out. Daniel Juncadella is another improver as well. He's gone purple in Sector 1. He's currently 9th fastest. Paul di Resta, though, the only driver so far in the 46s. So Daniel Juncadella and Paul di Resta, both Mercedes-Benz drivers. Augusto Farfus is an improver as well. So it's not over yet, that's for sure. So Paul di Resta, Edo Mortara, 46.854, 47.364 respectively for those two drivers. And di Resta's middle sector was not quite as he'd hoped. But with a 1:46.854 and one more turn to do, this will be the final lap from Paul di Resta, who heads up towards the timing line now. Edo Mortara stays at P2, and Paul di Resta with a 1:46.826 is P1. Then it's Edo Mortara. Daniel Juncadella is P10 now because he's just pushed down a place by Augusto Farfus. And, well, the order that we have then, as there are still some cars out there, but I think everyone has now completed any laps that they can do in the session. It's Paul di Resta, Edo Mortara, René Rast, Gary Paffett, Timo Glock, Lucas Auer, Mike Rockenfeller, and Pascal Wehrlein, with Augusto Farfus and Daniel Juncadella rounding out the top 10. So the fastest time coming from Paul di Resta, a 1:46.826 in the closing stages of that qualifying session. There's a delight all round for the team inside the garage then. Paul di Resta, who, of course, took the win in the second race at Brands Hatch. And prior to that was a winner at Budapest as well, and has had a number of podiums also. And of course riding high in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. And his closest rival in the Points Championship, who's leading the Points Championship, Gary Paffett, is on the second row of the grid because he qualified a 1:47.434 and will be going from P4 on the grid. So super slow-mos then in replay of Paul di Resta, who has delivered during qualifying. And this was the reaction inside the garage. So, with the lights on and the cloud bank behind us, here is confirmation of qualifying for race 13. Paul di Resta P1, Eduardo Mortara P2, then it was René Rast and Gary Paffett. Timo Glock is the best of the BMWs, then it's Lucas Auer, Mike Rockenfeller, Pascal Wehrlein, Augusto Farfus and Daniel Juncadella. They will be on the first 5 rows of the grid, followed by Nico Muller, Robin Freins, Bruno Spengler, Loic Duval, Marco Wittmann, and then it was Joel Eriksson, Jamie Green, Philipp Eng and Alex Zanardi then. So close to Philipp Eng, so very good effort from Alex Zanardi then here as a guest driver for BMW into the DTM. All the cars into Parc Fermé in the really rather regrettable weather conditions. And there you can see the drivers being weighed. And Paul di Resta is out of the car and has put the car P1 and looked supremely confident. Paul di Resta, Edo Mortara and René Rast then P1, 2 and 3. There is Edo Mortara under the floodlights here in the Misano circuit. Does the job of the marshals there with concern of his parking. Edo, it's okay. He's told. So there is René Rast then, following his qualifying session, the best of the Audi drivers. And he'll be going from P3 on the grid with a 1:47.401. And congratulate Paul di Resta on his pole position on 1:46.826. As the session ended, Paul di Resta was the only driver in the 46s. So it's quite a margin within which Paul di Resta has gained pole position, some 4/10. So congratulated by Edo Mortara as well. So the car's in Parc Fermé. And, well, the race to come in around about, the race actually starts here local time later on this evening. I don't think it could get any darker, to be honest with you, but local time, the race is due to start at 22:30. The start of the formation lap in local time, 22:30. So a couple of hours' time, and the race will be on. So Paul di Resta hands over his crash helmet and hands device to the team, and he's done a great job and put the car pole position for Mercedes-Benz. So the drivers all line up, and Paul di Resta in the middle. To the right-hand side is René Rast. To the left-hand side, Edoardo Mortara. So di Resta, Mortara, René Rast, then the P1, 2, and 3 from that qualifying session. Guido Stallman there, who is head of media for DTM, just guiding the cars there as we look at the backdrop of the really rather dark sky here. René Rast then P3, Edo Mortara P2, and Paul di Resta P1. But René Rast is with Verena right now.
René Rast with me right here in third place in the qualification. So I guess you're pretty happy with the third place here. Going for the race from third is always good. But what is it like here? You know, it getting dark and rain and everything. What's it out like?
It's difficult. Yesterday already in the right conditions it was difficult, but today, you know, with the rain coming in and the headlights from above, it's very hard to see the circuit actually, especially when there's somebody in front of you and the spray is coming up, you see actually nothing. So in the qualifier it was very important to have a clean lap without anyone in front of you, because otherwise you couldn't see the track. But it's very challenging. I think for the driver it's tough, it's very hard. As you can see, I'm sweating like a pig, but it's fun.
Thank you so much, René. See you in a bit, sweating like a pig.
Oh,
all right,
nice.
back to you.
Yeah, how lovely. Thanks, René, for that. Verena doing a great job down there for us, talking to the driver that is P3 on the grid, René Rast, with his 1:47.401. Then it was Edo Mortara P2, 1:47.295, and Paul di Resta on 1:46.826. So as you can see, the storm that we've had, and it was sort of a minor storm with thunder and rain, has gone away. Paul di Resta made the best of the conditions, though, P1.
I'm here with the pole setter. Paul, congratulations. Fantastic qualifying for you. We just heard a bit about the conditions out there. I guess for you the main aim is you're ahead of Gary, which is good in regards to the championship. But what is it out there like? And now, are you looking forward to the race, obviously?
I was quite surprised how bad the visibility was. The spray was lingering at dusk, initially with the lights, and I thought this is going to be quite a challenge. Once the water cleared a bit, it was honestly okay, but you know, this race is going to be very mixed up. I think we're expecting no rain now, so it's kind of going to be half and half conditions. And you know, there's a few things you can do with strategy. So I would have liked it to be more plain and simple from here on in. But listen, it's 3 points, we'll grab them, and we'll keep our head down, and hopefully we're here in a few hours' time when the race finishes.
All right, thank you so much. Best of luck for the race in just a bit. And now back to you.
Thanks very much. Yes, as Paul says, he's banked 3 points for being P1 in qualifying. Edo Mortara banks 2 points, and René Rast takes 1 point as the drivers make their way down the pit lane. And as Paul has indicated, there's no more rain expected. Therefore, this track, because of the ambient temperature, it does dry out quite quickly. After saying that, we've got, a couple of hours between now and lights out for the race. Are we going to see it dry? I don't know. I think it's going to be mixed conditions, as Paul has indicated. This, though, will be the grid for race here at Misano. Paul di Resta and Edoardo Mortara share the front row, P1 and P2. Going from the third row of the grid, second row of the grid, it's P3 for René Rast and Gary Paffett alongside. Then it's Timo Glock, the best of the BMW drivers, going from P5. Lucas Houry's P6. Then we see Mike Rockenfeller for Audi P7 and Pascal Wehrlein alongside him going from P8 on the grid. Augusto Farfus then and Daniel Juncadella are sharing the fifth row of the grid here at the Misano circuit, with Nico Muller and Robin Freins going from P11 and P12. Then we find the cars of Bruno Spengler and Loic Duval of BMW and Audi together on row 7 of the grid. It's Marco Wittmann and Joel Eriksson, P15 and P16, and then P17 and P18, Jamie Green and Philip Eng. And Alex Zanardi will be going from P19 on the grid. Let's go back to Verena now in the pit lane.
So that was certainly very exciting qualifying right there. We see Alex Zanardi, who is in P19 in the qualifying. It'll be interesting to see him racing in just a bit. And they say the rain is supposed to stay away, so I guess we'll see. It's definitely going to be a very exciting race, the first night race in the history of DTM, so make sure to check it out. See you in a bit. Here are the highlights. Bye-bye.